Would you want to generally randomly put people together, or would you want to put them together? So I'd never put two people high on competition in the same group, because there's huge chance then in the group for there to be sort of tussle and power games and politics and stuff like that. So I'd always put an includer and one person in a competition together. Outstanding performance as a team. So you want to sort of constitute a anti-Santur team or anti-Colgate team or something like that, to do something for the branch, always put a competition and an includer together. Includer would make sure that everyone's heard, whereas the nature includer says, you know, when you're stepping out for a party, you'll say, hey, I should have got that friend also. That's just the way you are. Competition will be, how many marks did I get? How much did he get? How much did he get before he knows how much he got? That kind of thing. So a very important framework that I use around ensuring that my team sort of works. And from that really comes anyone in your team largely in terms of work performance is supremely strong in one of these four domains. Yeah? And if you understand which person in your team sort of has an intrinsic strength in any of these domains, you're more likely to succeed. So executing, influencing, relationship building, and strategic thinking. Of course, there are a huge amount of tools, and I don't know whether you use some of these tools when you're in B school, but I think a good B school education should also be about building self-awareness. Because over a long period of time I've become convinced that a prerequisite to being a great leader is being absolutely comfortable with the way you are. And if you really look at it, the number of instruments, the number of psychometric tests, if you have a good grounded assessment of who you are as a person and you're completely at ease with yourself and have no sort of work mask or pretenses about yourself, that's when people really get you as a human being. And my sense is that when they get you as a human being, they perform dramatically better. So LSI is Learning Styles Inventory, Myers-Briggs, StrengthsFinder, of course 360. I don't know why we don't have 360s on campus. If some of my colleagues on campus had told me I was a prick when I was on campus, it wouldn't have taken my sales team to tell me that after my first couple of years. And so that's the point I was making, that it can be about you, because the nature of our evolution as leaders or as people is that we're unaware of a lot of beliefs as a function of our growing years, as a function of experiences that we've had, disappointing ones and really sort of jubilant ones, and all of them at a very subconscious level in some way or the other shape the way we behave. So somewhere earlier in my life I went to school in Cal. I went to class 2 in Cal, and I had gone to Cal from Bangalore, and the standard of education in Calcutta is abysmally high. So I went from a small school in Cal to St. Xavier's, small school in Bangalore to St. Xavier's in Cal, and at the end of the first term I was 42 out of 42 in the class, in class 2A. End of the second term I was 41 out of 42 in class 2, and then lo and behold my dad got transferred to this small town in the south called Madurai, and I went and wrote the entrance exam for class 2 and I got full marks. And then he said, okay, this guy knows everything, why don't you go to class? Why didn't he write the entrance for class 3? So I wrote the entrance exam for class 3 and I got like 92. I was like, wow. So let him do 3 months of class 3 and I went to class 4. So I finished 2 years of schooling in 1 year. But I tell my mom I got cheated out of a year of school. Anyways, so when I went to boarding school after that, when it came up to being made a prefect, I got passed over because in the principal's view I was too young. I was at that point of time in my life a very hurtful experience to me. And when I first became an ASM, a lot of my baggage that I still carried as a human being was that I'm young and that's a problem with me. And it took a long time for me. So only at the end of my sales stint did I truly become aware that I was carrying this limiting belief. I was trying to behave older than I actually was. I was trying to act more mature, and it was all being fueled by a hurtful experience that I had had in my past. And the nature of some of these things is that they are all myths that we have in our mind, and I'm just going to sort of share with you 3 myths that Before I tell 3 minutes with you, I just want to ask you, how many of you agree with the statement or disagree with the statement? Everyone agrees. As you grow, your personality changes. Okay?
I disagree.
No.
Okay, so who disagrees? Put your hand up. I didn't hear you when I asked. Everyone agreed. Okay? 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 You will grow the most in your areas of greatest weakness.
No.
No. Okay? And a good team member does whatever it takes to help the team.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so how many disagree with this?
Not always.
Okay. The jury basis Marcus Buckingham's research is out on this, and it's now proven through a huge number of longitudinal studies that as you grow older you become more of who you already are. That after the age of 7, very little changes about you. If you had a bad temper then, you try and control it and use Zen and yoga and Tai Chi and all of that, but you're that way. You need a huge amount of balancing. So your intrinsic personality doesn't change. If you're really competitive and you hate losing as a kid, as you grow up, you become more and more competitive. Winning becomes increasingly important and all of that. This is actually true, that if you focus on a strength, where you will get is much further than you will ever go by working on a weakness. So let's say you're failing in Hindi, you start doing tuition and stuff that you might get a 60. Let's say you're getting 85, 90 in math and you sort of really focus on math, chances of you getting to 100 are much higher. Chances of you getting world class much higher. And the last one is really about, as a team member, becoming acutely aware of what your strengths are, and if it's an area of strength, putting your hand up and say, hey, this is something that comes to me naturally, can I contribute my strength to the team? Another useful framework when you're working with teams. I just spent a little time over here, and this is the framework that is commonly. Tableen, have you been for a DLE? You have, okay, so be familiar to Tableen. Just give me a second. So, Unilever has a unique course that they put all people who lead large teams through, which is essentially a behavioral course. It's not a course that in any way correlates to on-job performance or anything. It's just about becoming aware of yourself. And there are 2 parts to it. One part is around the characteristics of leadership, which is emergent property, and the other is about your way of being, which is more behavioral. So the behavioral foundation of great leadership is around commitment, responsibility, authenticity, and contribution. And these are things that you live in terms of a friend of yours would be able to say, this guy is a committed guy. And by committed, you mean, if it is to be, it is up to me. If I say it, in the action of saying it, I know he's going to do it. It's like if you tell me, I'm going to call you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, I know, like, no kidding, you're going to call me at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, there's no doubt. Kind of committed guy. A responsible person is a person whose view of the world is that everything that happens to me, I have chosen to make happen to me. You don't see your life, or you don't see where you are in the world as, I have to do this, I have to do that, my boss is a pain, this target didn't happen because there was a strike, because of the bun, all that. A responsible person sees himself or herself as the source of all the results you create in your life. The results you like and the results you don't like. The third one is about authenticity, which is what you say, what you do, your body language, your way of being, all add up and are in perfect harmony. It's like, not somebody, very often you say that guy looks so fake, it looks like he's wearing a mask, doesn't come across naturally. The thing about Unilever is that because we have so many guys in sales who've seen so many people from B schools, they can see through you like a piece of glass. So I think very often a sales manager will go to the market and say that, I have an urgent phone call now to attend and leave the market after working just 6 outlets. Completely inauthentic behavior. The field force after that will snicker saying, what a guy, giving us excuses, we know all of this, we've seen lots of ASMs before. Inauthentic behavior. Far more authentic behavior would be to say, I'm not enjoying working the market, I'm going to the hotel. You gain more respect from the team you're leading by actually telling the truth and being honest rather than being dishonest. So authenticity is about being emotionally honest, about saying it the way you mean it. It's like somebody's going for an interview, you don't want to lose the guy, Yeah, the guy's got an opportunity outside, so he's going for an interview. You know that's better for him, but you want to sort of feather your own nest, and you know he's an important person, part of your team, so you don't want to lose him. So you tell him, no, don't worry, you're a really good guy. I'm going to ensure that I promote you at the end of the year. Even though in your mind you're thinking, by then I would have moved, somebody else will be here, it'll be his problem. That's inauthentic. And people figure that out over a period of time. It happens a lot in the corporate world, but that's the difference between average leaders and great leaders. And the fourth is about being in a place of contribution, where being in contribution means you exist to have other people win. And people get it. There are always some people who meet who are always trying to help other people. People like Mother Teresa, people like Gandhi, who in contribution, trying to give your whole life in the service of other people, trying to sort of have other people win rather than it being about yourself. So those are the four fundamental behaviors as people, and it's based on a proprietary research that studied over 1,000 leaders. So if you look at Martin Luther King, you look at even a guy like Martin Luther King, Mandela, Gandhi, all the really aspirational leaders studied all of their lives, all of their experiences, and they said, if it had to be distilled down to four compelling behaviors, that it would be these four. Out of having this bedrock of way of being, then you need to have four emergent properties which actually drive some of these. First of which is a compelling desire. If you look at anyone who corrected in life, there's some compelling desire to change the status quo. Solid belief, because whenever you're trying to change something, and this works particularly for entrepreneurs, you ask anyone who's changed the game, done something big, put a peg in the ground and said, I'm going to make a difference. Solid belief, because every time you hit a setback, that belief comes into play. Effective action. No entrepreneur ever achieved anything by just saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. They actually had to go and do something. So effective action, and finally iron will. Saying, I am going to stick by this no matter what. Even means pawning my wife's jewelry. You read any of, you read Dhirubhai Ambani's story, you read Narayan Murthy's story, you read anyone who sort of really made it big in terms of standing up as a leader, taking a stand and doing something different. These four sort of emergent behaviors come through. But really, going back to where I started, when I told you leadership is about practice. I think this stage, many years, I still am, even though he's gone to Nokia, I'm still on his mailing list, and it's in that spirit that everything that I've read after that, I've sort of decided to pay it forward. So whenever I read or whenever I sort of do stuff, I put it on the net as well as email it out. So if you want to refer to some of the stuff that I've done in the past, just to give you a perspective, there are a couple of blogs that I have. Tumblr is the current blog, the Stephen Remedios one. The letters to my team is essentially all the real emails I exchanged with my team in my first experience when I was leading a set of managers. And all the presentations that I've ever made on B-School campuses or to teams are on SlideShare, so if you want to just go through them. But unfortunately they're a little cryptic, they're like this one. If you didn't have the speaker, it's kind of a little difficult to figure out what was said. And if you have any feedback about this session or anything else you want to have a chat about, just drop me a line at stephen@gmail.com. So that was that. Thank you for being patient despite all the alcohol and fun last night. I don't have any more books to give away, but thanks very much for being a participative and enthusiastic audience.